What's wise, my people? What's wise? You know what I'm talking about out there? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we finna talk about fake news today. We're gonna talk about fake news today. Yeah, this is what we finna talk about today. Fake news, you know. And what I mean by the fake news, when you have news channels out here that's not for the people. They out trying to be the biggest and the baddest news channel out here in the world. So basically it's about content, clickbait, and lies. You understand what I'm saying? And then if it got just imagine a news channel with a big following. You know where I'm coming from? A news channel with a big following can actually control the way people think. You know where I'm coming from? Because if all they do every day is put out there on their channels and on their airwaves about what they feel and what they think is going on, then everyone else who's not doing their homework and who don't have time to go study and figure out what's going on themselves is going to listen to these news stations that's telling them whatever they telling them, right? It ain't no difference than what's going on today with the podcast shows too. You know, you got people saying what they saying for clickbait, content, to be the biggest podcast that exists today. You know, not for the people. It's not for the people. You know, because if it was for the people, you would tell them 2 + 2 = 4, and it'll never be 5. And my meaning of that, we'll all be able to agree to what's right. Not what you think is right, and you out here sharing it with everyone else to make them feel that it's right. So now we're not going to be doing that. But if you got a large following, and then you go out here and put celebrity names, big names out there on your station, and have them speaking the same way that this news station speak, then what you got now is people corrupting other people to think a certain way. And it's no difference than the podcast channels too. You know, just imagine a failed artist, a failed rapper getting on these podcast shows today talking about what happened or how it happened. Only thing you could tell us is how you failed. And if you ain't on this podcast shows telling us about how you failed doing what you was doing, about all the mistakes that you done made, then I don't understand why people even want to hear what you got to say anyway. You know where I'm coming from? But it goes back to what I just said. It's about content, clickbait, and lies. And if you put a name behind it, a big name behind it, you're going to have people who following it and listening to it. So it's all about views. So how many failed rappers can I get on my channel to talk about things that I'm talking about? And then everybody gonna listen to what I'm talking about because all the failed rappers gonna be on here talking about the same things too. Ain't no difference than everybody right now talking about penitentiary stories. It ain't no difference than people on here talking about what type of set of hoovers they need to claim. It ain't no difference than people on here talking about whether this state is tougher than that state, or this city is harder than that city. Man, that ain't nothing that nobody even concerned about if you're about the people, you know. But if you're about the people, then nobody shouldn't even be concerned about none of that, because none of that stuff is going to change what's going on in the world today. You know, ain't nothing going to change how these politics is changing laws and rules and doing what they doing to take us out the game. You know where I'm coming from? So all of those stuff that they expressing about just for clickbait, content, and be the biggest podcast channel out here. You know what I'm saying? Like the news stations. Fake news, basically. You know where I'm coming from? Nothing that they can tell us today is that's really going on to make us understand what we need to be doing as together. Not on no violent stuff. I'm talking about some wise, wisdom, smart, understanding stuff. All this shooting and killing going on out here, little kids doing. And these same little kids that's out here shooting, you got some of these older guys that knows these little guys that's out here shooting. They want clickbait. They want to look good. Like I said, it ain't for the people. It's clickbait, content, and, to look good. That's how it go. But at the same time, it's crazy out here. We need more people. Well, I ain't even say people talking about it. We need news channels out here that's for the people, basically. So therefore, the people that you bring to your channels or your shows or whatever y'all doing out here, it's going to tell you about the mistakes, about what you shouldn't be doing, how they failed, how they made all the mistakes that they thought was right and ended up on a podcast show instead of somewhere being rich like they said they was going to be in their music that they made, how rich they was and all this and that, coming from. So tell the truth, man, on these podcast shows. They go for everybody and anybody is what I'm talking about right now. You know what I'm saying? Tell the truth, because we got kids up here looking at you. You know what I'm saying? And we don't want these kids to do the same thing y'all did and fail. We don't want to teach people how to fail. We should be trying to teach people how to be better than who we was and what we was. But I guess it's not going to go that way because everybody out here trying to be like the fake news channels. Content, clickbait and lies just for views. Animosity, set tripping and going against each other just for views. As long as the people give y'all money for it, y'all gonna keep doing it. And I'm up out of here.